Hello, I'm Steve. This is the Patio Heat channel, where we create visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for outdoor comfort. This one-on-one customer support helps you make the best decisions for your application. We strive to earn your business. Visit our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Now let's get heating. Alright, so we have a residential application. I received a floor plan in a couple of different dimensions as far as the ceiling height is concerned. You can see here that we do have some ceiling lights up here recessed, and also I believe they're going to put in a fan above on this center beam, so just bear that in mind. I don't have the fan there. I'm not quite sure if that's true or if there's going to be one or two fans. So some of these dimensions I kind of ad-libbed because I'm not quite sure whether this wall is completely closed or is it open like this. However, that's not that big of an issue. The only thing that would be beneficial as far as the wall being closed is you are able to capture more heat. But if it's open, that's okay. This still will function just fine. I have a couple of different seating arrangements. I have just a reclining area here and then a dining space over here. Also, there are some doors in the background where they swing into the residence, and then a sliding door over here. Let's go over the overall dimensions that I do have. You can see here from the outside edge to the inner wall here at 21 feet. And then from the inside wall over here, I have at 16.6, let's call it here, to the outside edge over here. I have a ceiling height that starts here at about 8 foot. I have it at 8'2". I think they told me it's 8 foot, but I think there's a little change in this specific angle right here. I'm not quite sure of the ceiling. I could be off a little bit, but that's not going to affect the layout here. All right, I have a beam that comes down to 7 feet off the floor, and then I have a ceiling height over here at 9 feet off the floor with a beam that I have at 8'4" off the ground. So yeah, there's the two measurements there. Okay, so there's two different options you can do. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the dimensions here. And one would be overheating, I would say, and that would be utilizing four 6,000 watt units. Now what I've done is I've taken a straight line from the center of the light fixtures here, and I mounted the bracket 12 inches to the center of the bracket from the center of the light fixture itself. That way you're not getting any shadow off of the lights as it casts a ray down. And then I also have these tilted at about 15. You could probably go up to 20 degrees, but I would say 15 degrees is adequate. And you can see there's 4 units. Now this one here I offset on this particular demonstration because I'm not quite sure if this is a non-combustible wall or not. So I've colored it with bricks. And so I'm assuming that it's non-combustible, but just bear that in mind. If it is combustible, it needs to be 18 inches of clearance from this edge to this edge. And then, of course, the clearance around the whole entire heater would be, 18 inches around all 4 sides and, the ends, and then 36 inches down below. If you're mounting this on a wall, then the clearance needs to be at 12 inches above the heater, but if it's on a ceiling, then it needs to be at 6 inches of clearance, and I have that 6 inches of clearance there. All right, let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So as you can see here, if you look further below the model, you can see that ray is casted pretty intensely. So this is a pretty hot application at this height. What we might want to do is just check out what our finished height is on the unit itself. Let's go ahead and pop that in here real quickly, and you can see at 7 foot 8 inches. Now the manufacturer recommends 8 foot off the floor to 12 feet off the floor, so I would say that this again would be a pretty warm application. So if you were going to do something like this, then you would definitely want to have a control system. That way you can control the heater's output from 1% on to 100% on. And then also I'd go with 2 different zones, this being zone 1, this being zone 2. And that would work out fine, and it gives you a lot of flexibility as far as if it's a colder climate, then you can really pump up the heaters more than what you would on an average, let's say 50-degree temperature outdoors or greater than that. So if it's below 50 degrees, it would be beneficial to have a little bit more heat for those specific time frames. So all right, so that is, oh, and I should mention that I went from the center of the heater to the center of the heater at 8 feet. So there's good coverage between the two. So if this space is utilized a little bit differently, let's say that maybe you're having a party where you want to place another dining table out here or more seating in a different arrangement, then you have really good coverage throughout this whole span here. All right, so let's go ahead and turn that off, and then we'll look at the Slimline units. These are Slimline 4000 watt units, again mounted at the same approximate location from center of the lights, moved over 1 foot, and that's a lateral measurement, not down slope. In any case, so we have that attached to the ceiling just the same way, about a 20-degree tilt inwards, and these are 4000 watts. Here you can see I've placed it right up against this. I'm going to consider that a non-combustible fireplace fixture or fireplace chimney section. And same thing goes here, 12 inches over to the center of the bracket. Let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. And by the way, on this particular model, when you mount it on a wall, it will only require 6 inches of clearance above, or on a ceiling 6 inches above. So it's not increased like the other model I mentioned. All right, and you might also be asking why I did not mount on the walls or on this beam over here. And you can mount these units on the beam. Let's say it would bring the heater down a little bit further, but also it would bring the heat ray, and let's just pop that on here real quick. It'll bring the heat ray a little bit further to the outer edge, and also the crossover in the middle would not be as sufficient as you would probably want for a nice even coverage throughout the span here. So but you could do that. It's just not going to be covering in the center. And then also, because of the fireplace here that I see, there's no way to make this particular unit over here, you know, attach uniformly with the other. So if you're going to attach one over a door, then you want to make sure that door only swings inwards, and if it swings outwards, that cannot be done because now you have a fire hazard. So again, 8 foot center to center, and that's just centered within the room. So 4 feet this way, 4 feet that way. And you can see here, the coverage is really good. If you look below, you can even see it penetrates a little bit further than what is necessary or maximized with the unit itself. But I don't think you would need a control system on here. And here you might want to just do a possibly just a simple on-off for each unit, and then that way you can regulate how much heat is being produced inside the room. For instance, on a cool afternoon, you might want to just have the outer edge units on and then the inner units turned off, and that would warm up the space pretty nicely. It's not going to be warm to sit over here, but you know, it's going to allow the floor to warm up, and say that like on a 55 to 60 degree day, that would be how I would make adjustments basically. So all right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you'd like us to review your plans, please send your information into designs@patioheat.com, and please tap that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Have a wonderful day.